The girl who entered to escape and found herself locked in. A psychological descent behind a Polish door. Have you ever prayed for something so hard, a new beginning, a clean slate, that you ignored the warning signs written in bold across the very thing you were given? Ever stepped into a place so beautiful, so perfect, that you were willing to overlook the scratch marks on the door, the camera pointed in the wrong direction, the way someone's smile seemed a little too rehearsed? That's what The Housemaid is. Not a story, a test of your instincts, of your need to be wanted, of how much discomfort you'll swallow to feel safe again. This is for the ones who've been shut out and then offered a room, a job, a second chance, only to discover the house was never meant to shelter you. It was meant to keep you quiet. Because some jobs aren't jobs, they're setups. Some homes aren't safe, they're staged. And some people smile with the intent to break you from the inside out. Freida McFadden doesn't write villains, she writes beautifully damaged people hiding in well-decorated homes. She writes manipulation with perfect mascara. She writes trauma in cashmere. And she knows the most terrifying part of any prison is when you start believing it's your fault you're in it. Millie Calloway is on the brink, living in her car, sleeping cramped in the back seat, unwanted, unheard, unseen. But she still has a sliver of hope, and that hope walks her into the grand foyer of the Winchester home, with its Italian leather furniture, endless rooms, and an attic that smells faintly of dust, secrets, and someone else's past. Nina Winchester is radiant, refined, charming, too charming. She offers Millie a job, a live-in role with generous pay, a room of her own, and maybe most importantly, dignity. Millie, desperate for a reset, says yes. But the yes comes with more than a paycheck. It comes with an attic door that locks from the outside. It comes with a window that's been painted shut. It comes with a mini fridge stocked with only 3 bottles of water, just enough to keep you calm, not enough to keep you safe. And yet, Millie stays. Because the house looks like the life she wants. Because the job sounds like the fresh start she needs. Because the alternative is sleeping on cold seats and being reminded, again, that the world doesn't care if you live or vanish. Then comes Cecilia, the daughter, pale, quiet, eyes that don't blink. She's 9, but stares like she's seen everything. She speaks in sentences clipped sharp with judgment. She tells Millie what not to touch, what not to say, who not to trust, and Millie, trying to win favor, offers her a snack. Peanut butter and banana crackers, harmless, right? Until Cecilia screams, "She's trying to kill me." A peanut allergy, and suddenly, Millie is framed. Again, Nina rushes in, pale and horrified, her voice soft, her accusation loud. She claims she warned Millie about Cecilia's allergy, but Millie knows she didn't. Still, she apologizes because she has no proof, because no one would believe her, because she knows what it's like when your truth holds no weight. And here in this house, your truth doesn't matter, only their version of you does. Andrew Winchester enters next, tall, wealthy, composed. He notices Millie's cooking, compliments her cleaning, smiles at her like she's more than just help. But behind him, Nina watches. Because in this house, even gratitude is ammunition. Millie starts to see the patterns. Praise followed by punishment, gifts followed by control, affection followed by withdrawal. Nina swings from generous to venomous in seconds. She destroys the kitchen searching for missing notes, blames Millie again, as if her presence is the infection disrupting this carefully curated fantasy. Then there's the landscaper, Enzo. He watches from the yard, eyes heavy with something unspoken. He tries to warn Millie, one word, pericolo, danger. Millie brushes it off at first, but that night, her bedroom door won't open. No signal, no escape, no air. The panic rises like heat from the floorboards. She jiggles the knob, breath short, palms damp, until, click, it opens. Maybe it was stuck, or maybe not. But the fear doesn't leave with the open door, because now she knows what this house is capable of, and more importantly, what it's preparing her for. She starts noticing more. The cameras, the silence, the way Cecilia always appears when no one's watching. The house is a stage, and Millie is not a guest, she's a prop. The attic, she learns, used to be a closet, but someone lived there before her. Someone who scratched at the wood until their fingernails broke. Someone who wasn't meant to leave. As the days blur, the boundaries tighten. Nina becomes more unstable, Andrew more absent, Cecilia more calculating. Millie begins to sense the unspoken rule. Obey, and you get to stay. Resist, and you disappear. But she's not the same woman who walked into that house. She remembers what it felt like behind prison doors. She remembers what it took to survive. And she realizes this is no different. They chose her for a reason, because she has no one, because she's easy to discredit, because they think she'll never fight back. They're wrong. She starts planning, tracking their rhythms, identifying their weak spots, waiting for her moment. Because when the house begins to shake, you don't scream, you stay quiet and prepare your exit. This isn't a thriller for the sake of thrills. It's a study of psychological war, of weaponized kindness, of how easily a person can be erased when their past has already stained them, and how sometimes survival means choosing to be seen as the villain, if that's what it takes to escape. The brilliance of The Housemaid is in its subtlety. The story never shouts, it whispers, it lures, and it shows us that the most dangerous people often wear the cleanest clothes. By the end, you'll question every compliment you've ever been handed, every job you were lucky to get. Every moment someone said, "Trust me," before closing the door behind you. You'll look at your own life differently, at the rules you follow, at the situations you endure, at the people who call you too sensitive when your gut tells you to run. Because this story doesn't just entertain, it activates. Personally, this book taught me the value of instinct over image. It reminded me that the gut doesn't lie, even when the world tells you it's wrong. That safety bought through silence is just a quieter kind of death. I'd use what I've learned here to notice the signs earlier, to walk away before I beg to stay, to trust when something feels off, not explain it away, and most of all, to never confuse stability with safety, because the more polished the house, the darker the secrets it can hide. Read this book not just for the mystery. Read it to recognize the next time something perfect feels like a trap. Buy The Housemaid now. And remember, the most dangerous place you'll ever be is the one that feels just good enough to stay. Quality check, book title and all. Hang on before you go. Ideas that change lives, all for free. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell. Don't miss a single drop of insight, knowledge, and clarity. The whole book, the best bits, in just minutes. And one more thing, please don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful.